Hello and welcome to Spectrum TV News at 2. I am Francis Adet, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. We'll take a look at the headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates China's Xi Jinping on re-election. INEC says 170,000 results uploaded on IREV and Beaver's reconfiguration to be completed on Tuesday. Plus, Russian governor says air defenses shut down 4 missiles over Belgorod. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Many thanks for staying with us. First in the news this afternoon is Nigeria's leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, who has congratulated Xi Jinping on his re-election for a third term of 5 years as President and Chairman of the Central Military Commission (CMC) of the People's Republic of China. A spokesperson for the Nigerian President, Femi Adesina, in a statement said, Buhari believed that under the leadership of President Xi Jinping, relations between China and Nigeria, which dates back to 1971 when both countries formally established diplomatic ties, have expanded rapidly on bilateral trade and strategic cooperation. Adesina said the president hoped that the future outlook of this strategic partnership with China will continue to blossom in leaps and bounds in the areas of military, political, trade, finance, oil and gas relations, as well as cooperation in the telecommunications, agriculture, infrastructural development, and manufacturing sectors. Away from that, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says over 170,000 polling unit results of the February 25 presidential and National Assembly elections have been uploaded on its result viewing portal IREV. The Commission's National Commissioner Festus Okoye said the reconfiguration of the bimodal voter registration system (BVAS) would be completed today in preparation for the March 18 governorship and state assembly elections. Okoye added that the BVAS will not allow itself to be totally reset if the entire data is not pushed to the accreditation back end. Meanwhile, INEC has denied the allegation that it has refused to allow aggrieved political parties to inspect election materials as ordered by the appeal court. The Commission's National Commissioner for Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, made the clarification in an interview with newsmen. Okoye advised lawyers of the aggrieved parties to channel their requests appropriately so that the issues can be handled expeditiously. He added that the Commission at the national level does not conduct elections, but rather elections are conducted at the state and local government levels. On judicial matters, the appeal court has reserved judgment to decide on the case by Senator Ademola Adeleke challenging the decision of an election petition tribunal which nullified his victory in the Osun governorship election. A 3-member panel led by Justice Mohammed Shaibu fixed the date to decide on the matter after taking their argument and adopting the briefs of all parties in the suit. During proceedings today, counsel to Adeleke Onyechi Ikazu held that a member of the panel, who is also a chief magistrate, did not air her opinion during the judgment delivery. Rather, she only appended her signature, and the Constitution mandates her to have heard her views about the suit. Meanwhile, counsel to Oyetala Lateef Fagbemi, however, held that signing of the judgment and not making any comment afterwards does not make the judgment invalid. On the Naira crisis, the governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo, confirmed today that the Central Bank of Nigeria has asked commercial banks to dispense and accept all Naira notes as deposits. According to reports, Soludo, a former CBN governor, made this known in a statement he posted on social media handles. He explained that the governor of CBN, Godwin Emefiele, gave the directive at a bankers' committee meeting on Sunday. In the meantime, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) has expressed its determination to continue to arrest and prosecute those producing and circulating fake redesigned Naira notes in the country. The Commandant General of the Corps, Ahmed Audi, lamented that the number of those involved in the circulation of the fake money was disturbing, saying the Corps would not relent in freeing the society of fake money. According to him, in less than a month, the Corps has arrested and seized fake Naira notes worth millions from members of syndicates in different states in the country. He opined that the alleged fraudsters took advantage of the low circulation of the redesigned Naira notes to massively produce counterfeit notes. Away from that, the management of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) has said that it is compelled to bring to the notice of the general public the dangers of unauthorized use of NYSC uniform, logo, lyrics, literature, and other intellectual materials associated with the scheme. The scheme said it is greatly disturbed by the circulation of various content on social media for entertainment and political purposes. The National Youth Service Corps said it remains apolitical and neutral in the ongoing political and electioneering process, and that their unregulated material continue to portray the NYSC in bad light. The scheme cited Section 14 of NYSC Act, which clearly specifies that any person who, not being a person serving in the Corps or duly authorized to wear the uniform or any part of the uniform of the Service Corps, is guilty of an offense and liable on conviction to a fine of 1,000 naira or to imprisonment for a term of 6 months or both. And back here, residents of Nnodosen of Obio Fort have called on the Akwa Ibom State government to resume the construction of Nnodosen Road. They described the road as a disaster during the rainy season, noting that it is always flooded, making movement difficult for both pedestrians and motorists. They disclosed that the project was abandoned 8 years ago by contractors who were handling the construction and solicited quick response from the government.
7 to 8 years now. And apart from this a stone base, so they just abandon and leave the road like that. So Northbound road off a park road by flyover, they just leave the road like that. So we have suffered in rainy season. We have suffered about how to cope with it. We are not happy about it.
In Africa, authorities in Malawi have closed schools in 10 districts over safety concerns after Cyclone Freddy wreaked devastation in neighboring Mozambique. The authorities say heavy rains pounding southern Malawi have washed away roads and disrupted power generation, with more rainfall expected in the next few days. According to them, physical classes have been suspended for Monday and Tuesday in all learning institutions in the area. The education minister said in a statement that teachers and learners have been encouraged to use available online platforms and radio for lessons. Meanwhile, the death toll in Mozambique is reportedly 28 since the storm first made landfall. Still in Africa, the United States military has launched its annual military training exercise aimed at helping armies contend the jihadi threat as extremist violence in West Africa's Sahel region spreads south towards coastal states. Soldiers from several African countries are being trained in counterinsurgency tactics as part of the annual US-led exercise known as Flintlock. Reports say some 1,300 military personnel from 29 countries are training in Ghana and Ivory Coast amid surging jihadi violence linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State group that's killed thousands, displaced millions, and plunged countries into crisis. On the foreign scene, Governor of Belgorod, Vyacheslav Glaskov, says at least one person was injured in Russia's southern Belgorod region bordering Ukraine after air defenses shut down 4 missiles today. The Russian statement and politician disclosed on his Telegram channel that air defense system was activated in Belgorod and Belgorod Outlas and 4 missiles shut down. Gladkov, who did not disclose the source of the missile, said 2 private homes were damaged in the attack. Recall the authorities in Belgorod, which borders Ukraine's Kharkiv region, have reported multiple attacks since Russia began the full-scale invasion of its neighbor last year. Still on the foreign scene, United Kingdom UK leader Rishi Sunak says the UK will ramp up defense spending by $6 billion to fortify against growing threats from Russia and China. In a statement, the British Prime Minister pledged to use the extra spending spread over 2 years to replenish ammunition stocks, modernize the UK's nuclear submarine program, and fund the next phase of AUKUS, a security pact struck between the 3 nations in 2021. Sunak said the fortification is to protect the country's national defenses from economic, security and technology supply chains and intelligence expertise to ensure that UK is never again vulnerable to the actions of a hostile power. Reports say details of the AUKUS program are set to be revealed today in San Diego during a joint news conference between Sunak, US President Joe Biden, and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Still to come in the news, ex-Falcons coach Ismaila Mabo dies at 78. Do stay with us.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
As Nigeria prepares for the general elections holding from 25th February 2023, broadcasters are enjoined to make ethical reportage their watchword. All political programs shall observe the provisions of the Nigeria Broadcasting Code and other extant laws relating to broadcasting. All broadcasting stations must adhere to the principles of pluralism and ensure equitable airtime to all political parties or views. All political programs shall adhere to the general principles of legality, decency, and truthfulness. For the avoidance of doubt, the broadcast of a political campaign, jingle, announcement, or any other form of partisan party identification or symbol ends not later than 24 hours before polling day. Hate speech is prohibited. Be professional. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting. Announcer Management.
Many thanks for staying with us, and now to the rest of the news stories. On a business news, Nigeria's economy is reportedly grinding to a halt and has lost about 20 trillion naira, following the over 70% mop-up of cash by the federal government through the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. A report by an economic think tank, Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, said the protracted acute cash scarcity had not only crippled economic activities across the country, but was now a major risk to the livelihoods of most Nigerians. Calling for an urgent intervention by President Muhammadu Buhari, the body stressed that Nigerians have not been this traumatized in recent history. Still in business, Nigeria had allegedly spent at least 2.4 trillion naira to import raw materials from other countries in 2022. Data collated from the Foreign Trade Statistics of the National Bureau of Statistics also showed that Nigeria exported raw materials to the tune of 1 trillion naira, leaving a deficit of 1.4 trillion naira during the period under review. Statistica also reported that raw materials imported into Nigeria amounted to over 1.9 trillion naira in 2021, amounting to about $4.6 billion. In Halt, the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, LASUT, has said there are still 43 victims of last Thursday's train bus incident on admission to its facilities. LASUT had on Thursday said it received 102 victims of the train bus crash for treatment. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health in a statement yesterday explained that 53 victims had been discharged as of March 12. According to the statement, of the 6 deaths recorded, 2 occurred at the site of the accident and 4 at LASUT during resuscitation. Still in Health, following high-end investigations, the Texas Board of Nursing, United States, has announced that it has charged no fewer than 75 nurses to court over issues bordering on falsification of certificates. On the list posted on the website of the board, 43 of the names were identified as nurses of Nigerian origin. Reports say in February, 1,800 nurses in the U.S. were charged with certificate forgery. The U.S. authorities had said that lists would be updated continuously as the board received additional information about the fraudulent diploma and transcript scheme. The investigation, tagged Operation Nightingale, was described as a multi-state coordinated law enforcement action involving the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Inspector General and was launched on January 25, 2023 to arrest individuals engaged in a scheme to sell false and fraudulent nursing degree diplomas and transcripts. In sports, former Super Falcons coach Ismaila Mabo has reportedly died during the early hours of this morning. He was aged 78. Reports say he died at his residence in Jos, the capital of Plateau State, after a prolonged illness. Recall that the legendary Mighty Jets of Jos captain and ex-international had in January confirmed that he had been battling illness following the demise of his wife. Regarded as the most successful Nigerian coach in women's football, Mabo led the Falcons to their best ever outing at the Women's World Cup, a quarter-final finish at the 1999 edition, and was also coach of the side at the 2000 and 2004 Olympic Games. Still in sports, Leandro Trossard set up all 3 goals as Arsenal re-established a 5-point cushion at the top of the Premier League with a 3-0 win at Fulham. It was all too easy for the Gunners at Craven Cottage as the hosts struggled to find any foothold in the game. Gabriel Magalhaes nodded in a Trossard corner in the 21st minute to spark a quick flurry of goals that had put the visitors out of reach. Gabriel Martinelli added a second 5 minutes later with Martin Odegaard all but securing the victory just before halftime. Marco Silva's side keenly felt the absence of João Palhinha as they slumped to a second straight defeat, conceding with his two-match ban, with Arsenal having no trouble parting the Fulham midfield. On our entertainment news, American costume designer Ruth Carter has become the first black woman to win 2 Oscars after winning the costume design category in the 2023 Oscars. In 2019, she became the first black person to win the Oscar for costume design for her work on Marvel's Black Panther. Meanwhile, Brendan Fraser's Best Actor Oscar win for his powerful performance as morbidly obese man in The Well caps a remarkable career comeback for the charismatic leading man. The former star of 1990s hits such as The Mummy endured a decade in the Hollywood wilderness before winning over Academy voters with his portrayal of a reclusive teacher who eats compulsively as he is tormented by grief. Michelle Yeoh also won Best Actress at the 95th Academy Awards, becoming the first woman of Asian descent to win the awards. Meanwhile, Avatar: The Way of Water wins the Oscar first Best Visual Effect at the 95th Academy Awards. Aside the Best Visual Effects category, it also was nominated for Best Sound, Best Production Design, Best Picture categories. In the meantime, American singer Stephanie Ginotta, popularly known as Lady Gaga, performed an emotional and inspiring rendition of a song, Hold My Hand, during the Oscars on Sunday night. The song from Top Gun Maverick was nominated for an Oscar in the category of Best Original Song, with Rihanna's Lift Me Up from Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Gaga went makeup-free and wore a t-shirt and jeans for the performance. The singer got a standing ovation for an excellent performance. And that's all we have for you this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You've been watching Spectrum TV News at 2. I am Francis Edet. Many thanks for watching and you have a lovely day.